I'd reached the point after 30 years and 5 heart attacks where I really needed to do something. It's a wondrous device. It's really a miracle of modern technology. And I'm here today because we have that kind of technology.
I know you're not going to pick up your shirt and show me. The reality is you have a cord that now comes out.
Right.
And you have a battery pack.
I wear it on a vest, and there's a control element here, and then 2 batteries, one on each side, good for about 12 hours each. And then there's a cord that runs inside my chest to the pump on the inside, and that's what powers it and keeps it functioning. Initially, obviously, it's kind of awkward to walk around with all this gear on, but you quickly get to the point where you've adapted, where it's second nature to you.
Are you thinking about a heart transplant?
I haven't made a decision yet. The technology's gotten better and better, and we've got more and more experience of people living with this technology. So I'll have to make a decision at some point whether or not I want to go for a transplant. But we haven't addressed that yet. Biggest threats we face is
In the meantime, Cheney is now back in public and speaking out.
You said that you thought that President Obama was going to be a one-term president. Do you still?
I do.
Because?
Well, because I think he embarked upon a course of action when he became president that did not have as much support as he thought it did. That once he got into the business, for example, of health care reform, expanding the size of government, expanding the deficit, those are all weaknesses as I look at Barack Obama, and I think he'll be a one-term president.
But Cheney softened his past criticism of President Obama's approach to the war on terror.
You said you believe President Obama has made America less safe, that he's actually raised the risk of attack.
Well, when I made that comment, I was concerned that the counterterrorism policies that we'd put in place after 9/11, that had kept the nation safe for over 7 years, were being sort of rapidly discarded, or he was going to attempt to discard them. Things like enhanced interrogation techniques or the terror surveillance program. I think he obviously has been through the fires of becoming president and having to make decisions and live with the consequences. I think he's learned that what we did was far more appropriate than he ever gave us credit for while he was a candidate. So I think he's learned from experience.
Let's talk about the tragic shooting in Tucson.
When I first heard the news, I was shocked, I think, like everybody else. I thought the president handled it well. I'm not an Obama supporter by nature, but I thought this was one of his better efforts.
We don't know what motivated this young man, but immediately there was an uproar about contentious political rhetoric being responsible.
I think we have to be a little bit careful here about a rush to judgment, about assuming that somehow the rest of society or the political class bears the responsibility for what happened here, when it was the act of a deranged, crazed individual that committed the crime. I think our politics can get pretty rough at times. Having been vice president for 8 years, maybe I'm more sensitive to it than others. But fact of the matter is, good, tough political fights is one of the great strengths of our democracy.
However, Cheney sidestepped getting into the political fray over the best GOP candidate in 2012, especially when it came to his opinion of Sarah Palin.
I'm interested in Governor Palin, like a lot of people are. I've met her. I thought she's got an interesting political career established. She's clearly a factor within the Republican Party, has a strong following. She also has a lot of critics.
Do you think she's qualified to be president?
I'm not going to get in the business, Jamie, of saying this one is, this one isn't. There'll be ample time for that in the months ahead, and I'll be happy to participate in that process when the time's right.
Todd? I understand you watch her reality show, though.
I do. I think it's very good. I love Alaska. I've been working the North Korea problem.
But these days, the former vice president is spending most of his time writing his memoirs with daughter Liz.
Word is it will be candid, blunt, and some scores will be settled.
Well, I have a bit of the sense that I'm going to get the last word.
Will you write about differences you had with the president?
I will. Sure. Yeah, we had some policy differences, and I'll be forthright with my comments on those.
In his memoir, he said about you, 10 years later, I've never regretted my decision to run with Dick Cheney. But he also writes that you offered and he considered dropping you from the ticket. And he says, quote, he had become a lightning rod for criticism. He was seen as dark and heartless, the Darth Vader of the administration. First of all, why did you offer to step aside?
Well, I actually went in about 3 different times because I didn't think he took me seriously the first time. And the reason I did it was I thought he needed to have the ability to do whatever he was necessary to make sure he won. And so I went to him and I said, look, Mr. President, you know, I've taken a lot of incoming fire. It goes with the turf. But if you have any desire to make a change here, I'll be perfectly happy to step aside so you can put somebody else in this job. And after I went in about the 3rd time and reiterated that again, then he went away, thought about it for a couple of weeks and came back and said, no, Dick, he said, you're my guy.
Still, Cheney admits there were tense moments, especially when Bush refused to pardon the vice president's chief of staff, Scooter Libby.
I pushed very hard for him to do that, and he disagreed.
Mm-hmm. Did it strain your relationship?
A bit, yeah.
What's your relationship like now?
I think it's pretty good.
Cheney admits he misses being in the thick of things, but says he's enjoying life after the White House and getting used to civilian technology.
You use a BlackBerry now?
I do.
You use a Kindle?
Yes.
You drive yourself around?
Yes.
Life feel pretty normal?
It does. It does. I didn't have even a cell phone when I was in the White House. So now I'm not totally modern. I'm still write longhand and don't use a computer for that kind of thing. But my grandchildren still laugh at me. And my 3-year-old grandson was showing me the other day how to use the iPad to play games, Angry Birds or something like that. But no, I'm gradually adjusting.
Adjusting, but still not backing down from controversy. He says those who think he became Darth Vader simply do not understand the responsibility he felt after 9/11.
When you lose 3,000 people, when the Pentagon is struck, the World Trade Center is destroyed, you're facing the prospect at any moment of another major attack. When people are talking about biological agents or even nuclear weapons in the hands of a group of 9/11 terrorists, you're at war. But the notion that somehow I changed, that I became tough, mean, and nasty, no, I don't think so. But I also, I recognized, and I recognized at the time, that my public image would suffer in terms of the degree to which a lot of people out there who'd found me a warm, fuzzy, lovable sort before 9/11 all of a sudden say, you know, my gosh, this guy's Darth Vader. It went with the turf. And I didn't worry about it. I wasn't out there to sugarcoat my image. I wasn't running for anything. I was there to do a job. And if it meant I had to break some china to get the job done, I did it. But it was with a strong feeling, which was supported by President Bush, that this isn't going to happen again on my watch.
Any regrets?
No. No, the regrets are that there will be some that I reference in my book, but I'll get you a copy when it comes off the presses.